We are so delighted to have Reverend Jackie Hawkins back with us. She is one of our favorites and has always presented inspiring and insightful information. And we want to welcome you, Jackie. She's talking to us on the sacred gift of listening. Jackie is a ordained Unity minister and has graduated from the Spiritual Direction program at Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute, and she's currently living out in California, Southern California, enjoying the 75-degree weather that's out there, and I am envious. It's so glad for us to have you. Welcome back.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Mark, and hello to everyone. It's good to be back, and I'd like to begin first with a meditation before I get into my talk. I will also be leading you in a meditation as part of my talk. So let us now just take a moment in the silence. I invite you to take a few deep breaths with me right now. And I invite you to close your eyes, allowing the living, loving spirit within to be fully present to you. And as you feel this presence, I just invite you to relax in this sacred moment. Each of us as divine beings are shining our light. And so with your eyes closed, just envision your light shining brightly into the world, feeling the warmth of your light, feeling the warmth of all of the brilliant lights gathered here this morning. And so we will take a few moments in the silence of meditation. And as we bring our attention back into this sacred space, we open our eyes and give thanks for this time in the silence together. I am so very happy to be with you, as I said, and as Doug indicated, my talk this morning will be on listening, the sacred gift of listening. Every expression of love matters. Every one. Now, what does that have to do with listening? Everything. Listening is one of the most, if not the most important ways to express love. But all expressions of love matter. All expressions of love, whether it is patience or kindness, whether it is generosity, or engaging in social action, every expression of love matters. They're all sacred. And as I said, in my view, and it's not just my view, as you will hear, in my view, listening is one of the greatest ways, one of the most meaningful ways to express our love. This is what I have learned over the past 3 years in the spiritual direction program, the importance of listening, and that it is indeed an amazing expression of love. Love for yourself, love for others. So I was inspired to create this talk this morning through the experience that I had over the last 3 years in spiritual direction. And you will hear more about that. And I was also inspired to create this talk from the wonderful, inspiring, mystical messages of Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman. I believe I have shared with you some of his work before, but in case you either forgot or maybe I didn't share anything, Howard Thurman was one of the most amazing theologians, ministers, mystics that the 20th century in this country had ever known. When I was a young child, my father used to refer often to Dr. Thurman in almost worshipful terms. And he related to Dr. Thurman not only because he was a minister and theologian, Howard Thurman was African American, and he was also a civil rights activist, which my father was as well. But Howard Thurman's inspiration really was widespread, and among those that he inspired was Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In fact, Howard Thurman was Dr. King's mentor when he was in college at Boston University. And at that time, Thurman was the dean and chaplain at Boston University. And so this morning, I will be sharing with you one of his beautiful mystical pieces that I will be using as a type of meditation in the middle of my talk. But getting back to what I learned in spiritual direction with regards to listening, it was from that experience, listening is in fact the core of spiritual direction. And when I first started the program in fall of 2022, I did not realize, had no thought, that part of my spiritual journey in spiritual direction would include 2 bouts of cancer. But it did. And what I learned was through those experiences to listen to what my body was telling me, to listen to what the medical professionals were saying, and to listen not from just the words that they said to me or the quote prescriptions that they wrote, but to listen beyond that. And that is what I learned very deeply. And it took me to a place of extraordinary depth in my spiritual understanding. It also took me to a higher level of consciousness as I was moving through this very interesting and sometimes, of course, very difficult experience of the health challenge. But I'd also like to share with you that more than the cancer experience, it was really a time when I had the opportunity to share what I was going through with another. And the other was my spiritual director. And that spiritual director listened with full presence, listened without any judgment, listened from a place of love. And so that's why I believe, and in fact know, that listening, the divine gift, the sacred gift of listening, is one of the most meaningful and important ways of expressing our love to another. Because as we go through life, there are times when we simply need another person to be a witness for us. And listening, being fully present, is being a witness for the other. And in those times when we are seeking someone to be a witness for us, we're not looking for advice. We are not looking for counseling. We are simply looking for unconditional acceptance that allows us to listen without judgment to ourselves as well. Listening to the spirit within us. And when we listen as a witness for other people, as they attempt to figure out their lives, that is a sacred gift as well. Howard Thurman piece that I will share with you is titled, "Give Me the Listening Ear." And in it invites us to experience the sacred process of listening. And so I would like to share these words with you right now. And I invite you to close your eyes and just take a couple of deep breaths as I share with you these very mystical and caring words from Howard Thurman. And so again, I invite you to close your eyes, because this piece is really best experienced as a meditation. Give me the listening ear, the eye that is willing to see. Give me the listening ear. I seek this day the ear that will not shrink from the word that corrects and admonishes, the word that holds up before me the image of myself, that causes me to pause and reconsider, the word that challenges me to deeper consecration and higher resolve, the word that lays bare needs that make my own days uneasy, that seizes upon every good, decent impulse of my nature, channeling it into paths of healing in the lives of others. Give me the listening ear. I seek this day the disciplined mind, the disciplined heart, the disciplined life that makes my ear the focus of attention, through which I may become mindful of expressions of life foreign to my own. I seek the stimulation that lifts me out of old ruts and established habits, which keep me conscious of myself, my needs, my personal interests. Give me this day the eye that is willing to see the meaning of the ordinary, the familiar, the commonplace, the eye that is willing to see my own faults for what they are, the eye that is willing to see the likable qualities in those I may not like, the mistake in what I thought was correct, the strength in what I had labeled as weakness. Give me the eye that is willing to see that thou hast not left thyself without a witness in every living thing. Thus, to walk with reverence and sensitiveness through all the days of my life. Give me the listening ear, the eye that is willing to see. And so we pause and take another breath and release. And we feel into those words. The words of listening. The words that admonish us to see beyond the invisible, to hear beyond unspoken words. You may open your eyes now. Listening. When we listen to another with our full presence, we are offering a gift of acceptance, appreciation, and compassionate curiosity. And in this sense, as the listener, our goal is to hold a space of loving energy where our companion can freely speak about their thoughts and their feelings, as well as a space where they can be comfortable with not speaking. Even when we are in conversation with family or friends or coworkers or teachers, by allowing the other to speak their truth without interruption, we are providing them with a sacred gift, and we are co-creating with them a connection where there may have been tension. And I can say this, full disclosure, not too long ago, I was in conversation, tense conversation with a family member, a cousin. And I was able to create a connection by keeping quiet, quite frankly, by allowing them to speak, even though I wanted to interrupt. Have you ever had that experience? Someone else is talking and you just have to say something. You're just itching to say something. Well, by listening, by just relaxing into the moment and listening to the other, we are giving them a gift. We are giving ourselves a gift and co-creating a connection, releasing where there may have been tension, and allowing love to actually flow in that moment. That is what happened to me. Interestingly, just a few days before I was creating this talk. It's so funny how the universe can provide us with the right and perfect opportunities for our lessons, right? Well, I was given the right and perfect opportunity to practice what I'm preaching this morning, listening. I'd like to share with you a quote from Kay Lindell. She's the founder of the Listening Center. And she said, and I quote, "Listening is an art, more than hearing words, and more than an act. When we are fully present, it's a shift from listening as an act, something we do, to an art, something we be." Think about that. In other words, when we listen with total attention, focused on the person speaking, as I said before, we are co-creating connection. So listening is a spiritual tool, a sacred gift that can be used and practiced to create trust in relationship and connection with others and with ourselves. Because when we listen to the still small voice within us, we are giving ourselves, as Howard Thurman said, the eye that is willing to see our own faults for what they are, the eye that is willing to see the likable qualities in those we may not like, the mistake in what we thought was correct, the strength in what we had labeled as weakness. Deep listening, which is what I'm talking about this morning. Deep listening incorporates what Kay Lindell describes as listening to another's soul into a condition of disclosures and discovery. And she went on to say that it may be almost the greatest service that any human being ever performs for another. Isn't that beautiful? It may be the most important service that any human being ever performs for another. I like what a Mennonite minister is quoted as saying. His name was David Augsburger. And the quote is, "Being listened to is so close to being loved that most people cannot tell the difference. The ache to be heard lives within everyone." The ache to be heard lives within everyone. And so for a moment, I'd like you to think about a time when you were listened to wholeheartedly without interruption. Think of a time. It may have been a long time ago. It may have been just a few minutes ago. How did you feel when someone listened to you wholeheartedly? They were fully present to what you were saying. Now, think of a time when you were speaking, you had something on your heart, and you were not listened to. How did that make you feel? Did you feel disrespected? Did you feel anger? Did you feel less than? Or just numb? I have certainly experienced both. When my spiritual director listened to me, I felt love respect, honor. And in those times when I have been speaking, sharing from my heart, and have been disregarded, I have felt disrespected, sometimes anger, and certainly sometimes less than. There are hundreds, thousands, millions of people suffering needlessly from what I term dis-ease of not being heard. Dis-ease of not being heard, of not being listened to. Every day, we can see extreme negative effects of misguided public policy that has been created because the people who are affected are not listened to. Misguided public policy that creates or worsens homelessness, wars, poverty, malnutrition, infrastructure neglect. Listening is a sacred gift. And again, it may be the greatest service one human being can give to another. I believe every leader owes it to their constituency to listen deeply and with an open heart. Because when we are listened to from the point of an open heart, we are honored and respected as fully human, fully divine beings. And then the ache to be heard can be healed. So what I've been sharing with you is really the core, as I said initially, of what spiritual direction is all about. And it is a practice of journeying with another person spiritually through their lives. And it involves more than anything else, a willingness to listen, to be present to another person. And I believe more than ever before, we need this kind of connection, of practice, of journeying with another person. And I've also described this morning a process that does not necessarily need one to go to school for 2 years and learn the practice of spiritual direction. It takes a willingness for each of us to be present to another person, to be present to ourselves, to listen with an open heart. And so everyone can give the gift, can give the sacred gift of listening. Just remember, in the silence is where listening begins. And by listening, you can open not only your heart, but another's heart. And we can heal the world by listening. thank you this morning for listening to me. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Jackie.
You're
When
welcome.
when you consider how much noise there is in the world, listening becomes very selective. And sometimes the urge to make a difference in the noise somehow keeps me from listening. And I find that when I am reminded by inspiration like your own, that it, giving up my ego to listen
Mm.
connects me with something bigger than my ego. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Mhm.